You're listening to MicroPROgressions, FIT writing and speaking studio tutors on thinking and thriving. Hi, I'm William. My pronouns are he, him, his. I'm a film and media student, and I am a writing tutor at the writing and speaking studio.
Hello, I'm Mariah, and I am a textile surface design student here at FIT, and I am a public speaking tutor at the writing and speaking studio.
So this is an obligatory question I like to ask because, we got to get a sense of how each other are doing, but just how are you feeling today?
Good. It's definitely a 2 cup of coffee kind of day, though, gotta rev up the brain for a Monday. So I'm having my second cup of coffee, but I'm ready to go.
Awesome. No, I feel that. It's a pretty dreary post-rainy day in Queens right now where I'm at. So the topic for today's episode is finding inspirational and creative outlets for your writing. So Mariah, just what creative hobbies do you have in general from like writing or painting or stuff like that?
My hobbies are pretty various. I honestly really love cooking. And my parents are so glad I'm home because I cook for them like all the time, and they're like, "We're gonna miss this when you're gone," because I just
Oh,
love to cook. But I also like just really anything creative. I feel like I'm always discovering some new craft. I am in an embroidery class right now through FIT, and every week we're learning a new style of embroidery. And I will say it is really bad for my spending because I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm like, Bargello? I've never done this before. It's amazing. I need to buy supplies so I can do it all the time now.
no, but that's so great to hear that you've been finding yourself to be creative outside of just like what we perceive as like artistic mediums, I guess. Like cooking
Yeah.
itself. I mean, cooking is definitely an art, but when I think of art, I think of like painting or writing or filmmaking. Ooh.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And I guess like so this is a bit of a vague question, so interpret it as any way you want, but I guess like what does inspiration mean to you?
That is it's so hard to think of what I would consider inspiration because I want to be like I'm inspired by it, but I'm like I guess to me inspiration is finding a direction to give your creative outlet a way to go. Just anything that makes you want to be more creative or motivates you to do something. That is what I would consider inspiration to me.
So what usually inspires you, and has this changed from like when things were vibrant and happy in person, or as they are now? Not that we can't be vibrant and happy now too, but
Yeah. I'm usually really inspired by like I'll find one photo that is like I love the colors in it, like the texture of the photo, whatever's happening in that photo, I just love. And then usually I base everything else around it. And I feel like when I was in New York, I did tend to lean towards a lot of bright colors and a lot of like bold prints because like I feel like the city's really got like this really energetic vibe that's just bright and colorful. And now that I'm back home in Iowa, I've actually noticed I've been a lot more inspired by the natural elements in my state. I'm doing a lot of things right now with like prairie elements because Iowa has like a lot of prairies and that's kind of like our thing like forever. So it's interesting to see this cottage core trend being pulled kind of from like this Midwest vibe and now it being like popular in the city. And I find it so interesting, but it's also great because I'm like right in the heart of where that started. And so I've really been pulling inspiration a lot from where I'm at currently.
I love it when people like find new things about like where they were originally from. It's like, and so it's great to hear how much like your New York experience has influenced like how you now see your hometown, which is
Yeah.
just great because when you were talking about it, I thought you were gonna say like Iowa is like so like dreary and drab, but like no, I mean that's so great that you're finding like the little things like
Yeah.
beautiful here and there. I'm also curious just about like what inspires you to write. And this can be like pretty much anything from speeches or poems or even just like a paper that you've been like really loathing to get started.
Well, I this semester I've been doing a lot of project proposals, which is totally different than anything I've done before, but I love it because there's a huge creative component to it. And just composing that first paragraph, it's like you're trying to bring the consumer into your product and into this like whole imaginative realm that you've came up with. And so I love being able to use more creative writing versus like doing a research paper where it's definitely more like fact based.
I guess like inspirational sources can really sometimes feel like they only apply to us in one certain like creative outlet we do. So let's say a painting for painting. But do you feel like there are times when that inspirational source can apply to different things, whether it's like having to give a speech, like politics even, or writing a paper, or like a film review about something?
I definitely feel like you can get inspired by other media and use it in your presentation, or in your writing. It just really depends on what you're taught, like what your presentation is for. Because if you're just like if you're giving a TED talk and it could be about anything, like there's like a million TED talks that you can find topics on, like just you can find topics on creating fabric out of like kombucha cultures. So really, if you find something that inspires you, like a image of like I don't know, just something random, like a cheetah carrying, I don't know, cheeseburgers or something, and you decide that you want to make a whole presentation about why this cheetah is carrying its cheeseburgers, I say you do you, because it's always fun to just do something for yourself and have fun with it.
Definitely, the whole like personal element is something that is definitely coming back in this conversation. Are these examples that you gave real, by the way, with the kombucha and cheetah thing?
No, the kombucha fabric is real, but the cheetah with the cheeseburgers, that was just something that popped in my mind.
Love how your brain works. Also, just in terms of like speaking, I think it's kind of easy to imagine like finding visual references and stuff like that. But have you ever encountered any like inspirational things that you heard even from like music or public speeches?
Honestly, I'm part of the FIT Writing and Speaking Studio public or like our public speaking video library group. And so I've been watching so many public speeches lately, and it's really interesting to see how every speaker brings in some new element. I watched one that was like 21 days of a bee's life, and it starts with like the buzzing of like bees, and you're like, ooh, like what's happening? And then the guy starts talking about like the bee's life, and you can still hear this buzzing in the background, so it feels like there's like bees flying all around you. And I just thought that was such a neat element because usually there's no other sound in the background
Hmm.
besides what you're saying.
Well, now I guess I gotta like start like adding some like atmospheric elements to the podcast. Dang, I mean that sounds awesome. So another question I have for you is, what kind of practices do you like to do to express your thoughts and just let all of your ideas out? So whether it's like journaling to just making stuff. I know you've been embroidering, so.
Yeah. Honestly, I really like actually doing mood boards a lot. That's the easiest way for me to compile things. And Pinterest has that format of like a mood board where you can just like pin a whole bunch of things and organize it, which I really like because I'm a very visual person. I've always wanted to get into the idea of journaling because it just sounds like it would be really good. But then I feel like I'll do like 2 pages or something, and then I like am just like, oh, forget about it.
How do you think writers and speakers can make the most out of the information that they're inspired by?
Making sure that you're making the most out of your inspiration is putting everything you want into your presentation. If there's something that you feel like you left out, make sure you include it. Go back, revise, just start over if you have to. But make sure that you can do everything to really use your inspiration and put everything you got. Like, put 110% of all of that inspired creativity into your presentation or into your paper. Because whatever you leave out might be that secret sauce that you needed to put that presentation or that paper over the top.
And moments like that really do breed like innovation or originality. Like, how many presentations have we seen where we think to ourselves, oh, I never would have thought of that, you know? Thanks for listening to this episode of MicroPROgressions, FIT Writing and Speaking Studio Tutors on Thinking and Thriving. If you're a student at the Fashion Institute of Technology, we offer one-on-one consultations with writing and speaking tutors to help you develop and present your ideas, written or spoken.
You can schedule online appointments at fit.mywconline.com and find us on Instagram at FitWriteSpeak.
Thanks for listening and tune in next time.